welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shibani Gharat. Marriott very recently launched an interesting campaign. तो आज जाना कहाँ है, and it features an iconic Bollywood star Kareena Kapoor Khan. This campaign promises to redefine how diners discover and engage with culinary experiences across Marriott's hotels in the region. We caught up with Khushnuma Kapadia, Vice President Marketing South Asia at Marriott International, to find out how the brand focuses now about blending technology, storytelling and hospitality. And she also spoke about the key trends in the hospitality sector, what is shaping Marriott's marketing strategy in the region, and much more. Joining me in a special chat today, we have Khushnuma Kapadia, VP Marketing South Asia at Marriott International. The table is set, the mood is right, and we are right here at the newly reopened Sahib Room and Kipling Bar at St. Regis. Khushnuma, welcome to CNBC TV 18.
Thank you so much, Shivani. Thank you.
The food looks delicious.
Amazing.
And this is exactly what we're going to start off the conversation with. Your new campaign with Bebo looks amazing. Speaks about Marriott's dining experience from across brunches to fine dine.
Absolutely.
Tell us more, how did you shape the narrative?
The reality is now today the market is increasingly getting cluttered, and there are so many new restaurants and standalone restaurants, and five-star properties are revamping their restaurants. People are coming up with newer concepts, more immersive experiences.
Sure.
And so we decided that now we should move the focus from just food to our restaurants and spotlight our restaurants, which is why we created the To Aaj Jana Kahan Hai. Jana Kahan Hai. And that's how the whole trajectory and the transition of the campaign started, as an idea and as a concept.
Sure.
And then, in India, it's really important to get a very visual and a very visible endorsement from someone who really resonates,
That's right.
with food, and is someone who's hearty and someone who comes across as an individual that is not really faking it, right?
Yeah.
Someone
Who
who's
enjoys
really
food. And
authentic.
she's
Correct.
She speaks about
She
it.
speaks about it, and she embodies that value in terms of how much she enjoys, food. And we really appreciate that level of authenticity and that level of realism.
That's
So
right.
it wasn't just about having a celebrity face endorse it, because everybody can do that, and the idea was never that. The idea was to have someone who's very much, present in the visual space, who people identify with, and who will give us that level of impact and platform.
Yeah.
And hence we kind of partnered with Kareena Kapoor to really conceptualize this entire campaign. The whole idea was, how do you reach the audience, right? How do you make sure that all this content that you're creating, reaches the audience when they are searching for you? And hence we sort of, backed it with technology. We wanted to make it more tech advanced, and which is why we created this entire, this entire tech ability, that we will shorten the search journey.
Yeah.
The content reaches you when you're searching for us, and sort of creates a seamless process of reservation.
Yeah, so this goes beyond just making the booking faster to make, because a lot of times
Absolutely.
we spend a lot of time searching for where to go next.
Exactly.
In terms of food, or where to order from
Exactly.
next, in
So-
terms of food.
Exactly. And so when you're searching for, the best Indian restaurant in Mumbai, or, where can I get Avdi food, or where can I get North Indian food, Bebo should be able to pop up in your entire search journey. And that's how we've advanced the technology to enable that, where she says, why don't you come to Sahib Room at St. Regis, and it's Bebo approved.
So currently, we are meeting in Mumbai, but are you
Yes.
taking this campaign to other markets as
Yes.
well?
So actually, to be honest, because we're backing it with so much advanced technology, and it's the first time anyone's attempting to do that in the hospitality space, we're actually POCing it in Mumbai and Delhi. We're going to see how this really performs for us, because at the end of the day, a campaign is only as good as its performance,
Sure.
right? So we're going to monitor it until September to see how this campaign is performing, and then we will start taking it to other markets as well.
And is there any chance to engage with local celebrities, probably, who are foodies and who love food?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think the canvas is really wide. Absolutely engaging with local endorsers and local authorities and local, opinion leaders is very much a part of our entire strategy to market something like this.
Yeah, and on that note, speaking about that, you have multiple brands under Marriott now.
Yes.
And
19 brands actually.
19
Yes,
brands,
yes.
that's phenomenal. And also across
In South Asia, 19 brands in South Asia.
and
Yeah.
across various
Yeah.
markets.
Yeah.
So how do you shape your strategies? How do you shape your marketing strategies on what is important in which market?
Well, yeah, that's very complex. Actually, to be honest, that process is a little complex because 19 brands cannot work in 19 silos,
Yeah.
right? That kind of value proposition is very hard. It's very complicated and it's very complex. Having said that, we are very defining brand values that each brand embodies and each brand symbolizes.
Sure.
And our endeavor is very, very strongly to stay within, the purity of the brand and what it really, stands for. And which is why when we are catering campaigns or when we are catering the marketing narratives for those campaigns, we really try our best to stay in the lane so that the voice across the brand, for example, the voice across all our JW properties is unified. Then within that, you can tweak it based on your local dynamics and your local market, scenario and culture and customers and, the language. We allow for that level of flexibility. But the periphery is set.
Yeah.
Correct? You can't cross that periphery. Otherwise, you will dilute the brand values. So even when we are crafting campaigns, the reality is we don't do 19 brand campaigns in 1 year, right?
Yeah.
That's next to impossible. Our financials will not permit that. But we pick and choose the brands across in a multi-pronged approach. So when you want to really create an aspirational value for the brand, we will pick the luxury brands, of course, because they have an aspirational value. They have a luxe value. People want to be seen in those, hotels. And so we cater campaigns based on that level of insight and that level of marketing objective.
Sure.
We also are in tier 2, tier 3 markets where we need to make our brands look accessible, functional, and yet have that 5-star appeal value. So that when someone is engaging with you in that market, they feel good about being able to stay with us.
Plus, Indians are traveling everywhere around the world.
And
Their
they're
experience are
super discerning.
Yeah.
I mean, if you thought that someone sitting in a Bilaspur, where we have a courtyard, if you thought somebody sitting in a Bilaspur is not traveling or, is someone who is slightly coming with a less urban mindset, you're wrong, actually, because they have the financial power to travel and to be able to understand what they need from an Indian product. So the service levels, the experiences and the product that you have to offer has to be at your A game at all times, irrespective of where you're operating.
Absolutely. So you need to be in those markets. You need to have ears to the ground.
Absolutely.
And understand what the consumer there is looking for, what is missing, what are the need gaps.
Absolutely.
But what about, like new properties, when you're opening new properties? And recently there was an announcement that you are opening 7 new properties in South Asia, including the ultra premium, which is the Ritz-Carlton Reserve in Sri Lanka. So tell us more, what is your strategy when, you have to open a new property in a new market?
Yeah, so to be really honest with you, these brands are very nuanced, Shivani. They are present in other markets globally, right? So the formula exists. The entire brand value, the brand guidelines are all defined. So that makes our job really easy because we have like this incredibly talented, bunch of individuals who are defining that for us, sitting in our global, headquarters. So when that brand comes to us, we go through extensive amounts of training to first understand the nuances of the brand. Ritz-Carlton Reserve is a very, very new, very different. It's going to be incredibly, advanced for the South Asian market. And we're very excited about it. I think Sri Lanka is a country that has done incredible for their travel, whether it's through their flora and fauna, their landscaping, the kind of hotels that exist, the kind of restaurants, the food. I think it's a market that's very ready, for a brand like that. And we have a very deep understanding of the Sri Lanka market as well, because we have properties there. So the whole challenge will be to take the nuances of the brand, create very intimate storytelling around that brand, because obviously it needs a high level of personalization with the kind of premium that the brand will command in that market. So our entire marketing strategy has to revolve around very immersive storytelling.
Yeah. So, interestingly, in one of the conversations that I've had with a coffee chain, like this particular CEO pointed out that Indians are not price conscious, they are value conscious.
Correct.
So for this value conscious Indian consumer, how do you as a marketer, market some of these premium experiences that you're bringing with Marriott?
Yeah, well, it's a double-edged sword, according to me. I think I wouldn't completely eliminate the Indian consumer from the price points, and from the price consciousness. But I do agree that for the price that you spend, everybody wants 5x value, correct? And we do that with the experiences that we, create and we curate. Like we do a beautiful, experience in the Ganga Aarti in the Western Himalayas. And we realize people will pay for it. It's spiritual, it's immersive. It's exactly what people want when they go to the Himalayas or when they go to spiritual centers. JW Mussoorie has crafted experiences that are incredible. They do an entire picnic by the lake. So you hike, up to a mountain, and then they actually set up an entire picnic. They set tables inside that stream of water. So your feet are inside the water and you're being served, I mean, according to me, who wouldn't want to pay for an experience like that? Because it's so curated. You're not going to get that normally, right? So our endeavor, we do desert safaris. So like Marriott Jaisalmer, do desert safaris. And then they create the entire restaurant concept over there inside the desert. It's operationally very complicated, but we take up the challenge, That's the kind of value we want to drive for the price that we command, right? You can have a cappuccino that might be priced expensive in a hotel, but that should be the best cappuccino you've ever had, and then you wouldn't mind paying that 300 rupees for the cappuccino.
Yeah, so everything from here on, the focus is going to be not just about, speaking about the property, but what will you get at the property, whether it's the specialty restaurants, whether it is your spa experiences or any other form of experiences. Is that what you're saying?
So, 20 years back when 5-star hotels were just about, Taj always existed, of course, but the international chains were getting into the market. At that time, it was very much about the product, right? The ambience, the entire allure, the experience, the check-in experience, the walk-in experience. All of that was about how the hardware looked. As we've evolved and as the evolution of the 5-star brand hotel has gone through, we've realized that it's a combination of 3 things. It's product, service and experiences, and all 3 have to work in tandem. You cannot drop the ball on any.
Kushnuma, thank you so much for these insights and this insightful chat, and let's dig into our lunch.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Today we have a very special guest who has always had a calm and composed and dependable presence in the Indian batting lineup, Ajinkya Rahane. But beyond boundary ropes, he is equally passionate about the dynamic world of entrepreneurship and startups. He has channeled his passion for sport into investments in startups like Huddle, a sports tech company with a mission to engage Indians in active sports. Ote, which is an oat milk brand with which Ajinkya is an investor and brand ambassador since 2023. Then there is Proggy, which is an IoT company specializing in safety, connectivity, and productivity. Those are a lot of startups and a lot of investments for you, Ajinkya. Welcome to CNBC TV 18. Let's first talk about Hudl itself, because that's something which is also very close to you, close to sports. What was it that drew you to investing in Hudl and, being an entrepreneur there?
So Hudl is basically a sports tech platform, and me, I'm passionate about cricket, but I love playing other sports as well. And I used to watch people who are looking for venues to play sports, go outdoor and play sports. That's when Hudl actually, we met founders and then we started our discussions. And we thought that Hudl will be a right platform, a right fit for me to get into it, so that I wanted to promote sporting culture in India. We invested in 2019 and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
Everything was shut. Everything was closed for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
But then after lockdown opened up, people wanted to go outdoor and play outdoor sports. That's when Hudl actually was trying to help people to get access to outdoor facilities, to even indoor facilities, so that people could actually go out and play sports. And that's when I thought, no, this is a great platform for me to introduce people to different sports. We know pickleball, paddle has been growing really well, but the main important thing was for me to creating a sporting culture in India and try and promote that.
And how has your journey as a cricketer shaped, some of your insights as an entrepreneur?
See, I like to, firstly, whichever business I get into it, I like to meet the founders first. Try and see their passion, their vision, what they want to achieve. If I feel yes, this is the right venture for me, I get into it. But if I invest something in that, my time, the money as well, I like to take a back seat. For me, it is always about give them that freedom. I always feel that in cricket, we get a lot of suggestions, pressure from the people. But if people can allow us to give that freedom, we can play freely. So similar thing I apply in my entrepreneurial journey. I give freedom to our founders, but wherever I feel like I should jump in, I try to be as frank as possible with them and share my opinions.
Yeah, so let the leaders be. And one of the great leadership skill that you demonstrated was during the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia. How did that tournament, especially when we saw like the Indian team was highly depleted at that point in time, shape you as an individual, as a leader?
That tournament, I thought that series was something really special. For me, preparation is really important going into any series. I remember we'll talk about cricket now, going into Australia, we were in Dubai, playing IPL. And I got to know that I will be the captain after first test match. I thought, let me just study myself, try and make some notes. I always make the notes before any series, and I had 2-3 plans before going into Australia, and that plan came together really well. It was always about playing with freedom. As a captain, allow my players to give that freedom, open everything. I mean, they can talk with me about their personal and professional life. On and off the field, they can share everything with me. So it was always about that, being a leader, giving them that platform to express themselves. Try and motivate them, and also give them that freedom. Whenever we are on the field, just I told them that go out there and back yourself, back your game.
Moving back to your entrepreneurial journey, ProcG, IoT solutions, what attracted you to invest in ProcG?
So my friends, when they told me about ProcG, and ProcG is about making helmets, smarter helmets. It is very easier, safer, and also it's connected. As I mentioned, gadgets, helmets, it's all connected. You can talk to people wearing those helmets. It's safer, and also makes people's job very easier. Because when we see people wearing those helmets when they are working in the refineries, mines, the safety protocols are really important. And I thought these helmets provides that safety. People can connect with each other, and also it has oxygen levels. It has your BP levels. People can monitor sitting in the closed area, and they can monitor your oxygen level and everything. So I thought, from safety point of view, ProcG was perfect for me, and that's what my friend told me. And I thought, no, this is a great venture for me to get into it.
Yeah, and apart from that, there is also an agri-tech startup that you're invested in. What attracted you to agriculture? Because we see, like, you know, Bollywood stars and cricketers typically interested in, like, you know, high glam, high, like, you know, consumer-focused startups. So why agri-tech at all?
See, I'll tell you, I am into my entrepreneurial journey, and in business, returns are really important.
Yeah.
I have invested in a couple of the ventures where returns are really high, and I'm really happy for that. But agriculture is something really close to my heart. You know, I come from an agriculture family. I've seen my grandparents working in the farms and how difficult it is. I thought if I can contribute something to this sector, to the farmers, their lives, that will be really grateful. So that effort actually started from 2016 and 17. I used to help farmers from my own capacity, and I thought if I can channelize that in a proper way, with the organization, if they can help me. So I have tied up with MCCIA. They are helping me. Their Director General Prashant Girbane, Vikram, my close friend Vikram Sathe, and Amit Paranjpe, they've been helping me a lot, connecting to agri-tech sectors, and together we are trying to help farmers directly. And recently we have invested, I've invested in Krushak Mitra as well, but recently we have invested in Cane Bot. So through me, the other people who join me raising the funds, which directly go to the farmers, so that the farmers' lives can be beneficial. So this sector is always about getting an impact, creating an impact. We are not looking for returns. Yes, returns are important, but it's more of an impact.
So that brings me to a very crucial question. How do you decide, what do you want to invest in as an entrepreneur?
As I said, for me, agriculture sector is always about making an impact. Other sectors, making money. As simple as that. As simple as that. I'm not going to lie.
So are there any more making an impact sectors that you're looking forward to, and making money sectors that you're looking forward to?
My team is obviously working hard with all the sectors, all the ventures, but we pick and choose. I have invested in OT as well, which is again a very healthy sector, healthier way. I have tried oat milk in New Zealand in 2014 and 15, and I really liked it. And this brand called OT, they were starting this oat milk, millet milk brand in India, and I thought this is a perfect thing to promote it. Which has vitamins and minerals and very healthy. Being a sportsman, we got to stay really healthy, and fit. So I thought if I can promote this Indian local brand, why not?
Something that you're also passionate about is what you look forward to. Having said that, before we go, Ajinkya, I would like to ask you, what would be your tip to the first-time founders who are setting up their business? Since you speak to so many of them and you're actively investing in many of these companies, what would be your tip?
I'll tell you, in cricket analogy is that, now IPL has started. Everyone wants to play IPL. Everyone wants to be successful. But it's not easy at all. We only see the success story, but we don't see people who are not getting successful. The founders, I feel, you should not think about the returns and the outcomes, or you got to build your venture or start up a unicorn. You have to go step by step. I think firstly you got to be really passionate, resilient. That's what I learned in cricket, and also your attitude towards your venture is really important.
Great tip. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.